make sure. There is my problem. Just go ahead. Can you talk again?
Yeah. I've been thinking about it more. And it's really interesting. I've had probably maybe 3 or 4 dreams where there's some sort of example, and I say, yes, you see that the
This
life
is an
force.
example. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
it
something
is.
we really got to think about.
I'm literally like either thinking to myself or explaining to someone in the dream, like, you see, this shows that the life force of the universe is autonomous.
Mhm.
Like I've had like 3 or 4 dreams like that, and this was one of them where I'm watching these children, and I'm saying to someone like, look, see, this is proof that the spiritual life force of the universe is autonomous.
Well,
And
let's go through it again. You're
Mhm.
seeing these children, and what are they doing before the spiders and
they
snake thing?
well, they seem to be in like almost in just a endlessly, so there is a just almost endlessly large dark area in which all of the ground is covered in like terrible poisonous creatures like spiders and snakes. Like that's the entirety of the ground, and it's dark, and there are no walls or anything. It's just a endless plain of poisonous creatures. And there's like, I don't really know exactly what the children are walking across, but it seems to be some sort of perilous obstacle that they're trying to like cross. And
Do you know where they're going?
no, I have no idea. They're
Okay.
just trying to make their way across this freaking endless pit of creatures.
How many children do you think there are?
Mm, there's like at least like 4, maybe 4 or 5 that I could see.
4 to 5 that you can see. Okay, now they are going somewhere, so they need to traverse the dark plane because they need to go across the dark plane for some reason. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like, you know, they have to somehow find their way to safety. Like they're
Yeah,
in a terrible place.
but they're here at, where there aren't spiders and snakes covering ground, right? They're at some
No,
place.
it's everywhere. It's
Okay,
everywhere.
so they are at the beginning, they're standing in the midst of the spiders and snakes before they start their journey.
Yeah, well, it seems like I was watching them just at some point in their journey.
Okay, so they aren't starting. What you
No,
do
no.
is you just see them. They have been doing this for a period of time before you uh, became the witness to it,
Hmm.
and they're walking across an endless dark plain that is covered with poisonous creatures. The ground is basically spiders and snakes. In other words, it's just just you know
I describe it as peril. It's just nothing but perilous.
nothing but perilous ground.
Yeah.
Nothing but perilous. Everywhere they travel is so. So their trek, the trek of the children, is very perilous. So now you're witnessing this. The trek of the children is is fraught with danger. Uh, okay, and then after that, now that's the first part of it. The children are in movement. They are going somewhere. They need to find refuge. Okay, but on the journey to refuge. It is a perilous journey. They have to walk through spiders and snakes. And this would be, the spiders and snakes would be the undifferentiated life force, and one that is dangerous and, in fact, fatal, possibly, to the differentiated, youthful, growing thing within us. So the differentiated, growing thing within us is in great peril from the undifferentiated, which would be the pretty much so like, let's say the of ego consciousness, and this is what the children are representing, is the stance of awareness, but they also have the other quality of that they are a growing aspect, something that is nascent, has been born within our awareness. Now, this could be what I'm thinking, and it's coming to me as I'm speaking, that this represents it's very similar to me to the gold mine in Roy's dream, the second gold mine. There is a something within us that has been born. Okay, something within us has been born. Now, when was this dream?
I guess 3 days ago.
Okay. All right. Now let's just go through this. Okay. Up until this point, what we've experienced in the dreams has been a lack of islands, a lack of the persona, a lack of a differentiated feminine presence. And the other thing is there's been a relation between the dream ego and children, but the children tend to often be, in the case of the plastic baby and the young baby, but I mean, there's been 3 or 4 dreams that you've had where there were children in it, and in fact you were their parent. Okay, so I think the child aspect in you, not you, but the growing child within you, not in the outer world, but in the inner realm, your inner psychic law, as Gerhard Adler calls it. The inner psychic law within you is in the dream, is moving, and it's going somewhere. It's moving and it's going somewhere. It's not static. Okay. But the problem is that it remains the threat that this thing that's going somewhere, that has been born in us, can be snuffed out by the undifferentiated aspect of the unconscious. Now, what it really reminds me of is that house in Roy's dream, the framed house. The framed house is being built in the forest, but it is in danger of a tree falling on it. So that dream is almost a perfect analogy to just at least this part of the dream. That there's a house being built in Roy that's being built for him by the unconscious, and yet it is in the threat of a tree falling on it and destroying it. In this case, instead of a framed house being built for us, within us has been born a differentiate. Now, see, the framed house there was a pattern that had formed in the unconscious. Before, it was just all trees, just undifferentiated forest. But then the pattern had formed in there, a dwelling place for us, but it was in danger of the tree falling out. Now, in this case, what we have is the dark, endless plain that is covered with really solutio, okay? It's really covered with that thing that can dissolve what has been integrated or, differentiated through, I think, really through this moving from May through June 23rd or whatever, that there's been born in us a potentiality that has emerged in the inner world. And it has been born and it is going somewhere, but it is in peril of whether we have the staying power to, in other words, for the children to continue through on a safe journey through the dark plane, which, to me represents really sort of it's the moon scape that was closing in on us and going to blot out the sun. It was the house where we know no one, we have no relatedness, and that somehow is related to Egyptian death myths, and the aspect there is the feeling function. So the woman, our redeemer, is, even if she's just making it up, she's just coming to us to try to find affinity to us. You are wounded because you are experiencing the pain of exclusion. I want to show you that I am wounded too. Now, let me hear what interests you. And I want to hear what interests you. So it's this invitation from the anima to, to relate with her. Okay. Now, in this case, it is a growing thing within us. Now, the reason that these children will not make it through this perilous dark field, which seems to represent something like the house where no one knows us, or the moonscape that falls up upon us, or the water of the hamster with no islands. The way that will not happen is if somehow we regress, okay, from what we're doing right now. Because what we're doing right now has given birth to these healthy, youthful, growing aspects in the inner world, okay? All right, now let's go to the next part of the dream. First of all, what do you think about that? Because this first part of the dream is very, mythical.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, my perspective on the dream is, it's no wonder that they're like fainting and that they're like really scared, because it's like, it just seems so endless. Like it's like
There's no goal that's apparent.
Yeah.
There is, we are moving, but right now there is no the house, the frame house in the woods has not shown up yet, but at least we're moving towards something. Could you go through the second half of the dream? Because I think I can't understand. Okay, so we got that they're walking through the perilous dark plane. Okay, what goes on next?
So they are very scared and kind of are trembling, and then they faint one after the other, and then the life force kind of takes over and animates their body and then levitates them and brings them backwards to safety one by one.
Backward to safety. Okay. Okay. So the life force levitates them so that they are above the poisonous field of potential, really salutio. I mean, it's just would be that this nascent consciousness, this just born consciousness, would, disappear through the through the uh, the poisonous aspects, the toxic aspects of the unconscious, the devouring aspects. So you know what really is, there's an aspect here of the devouring mother, the maw of the devouring mother, the one that swallows back what has been, born, does not let it go to adulthood. Now, do you get that? Now, isn't that interesting? This plane really represents the devouring mother, and the children go out. And this is in fairy tales would be that the children are wandering through the forest, unprotected, just like these children, and they go into the house of the wicked witch. Okay, and she is going to cook them, put them in the oven, and eat them. Now, that is pretty much what's happening in here. That these children in the fairy tale are wandering through the forest and are in danger of annihilation by the devouring mother. These children are walking through an endless plain and are in danger of annihilation by the devouring mother, represented by the toxic aspects of the unconscious. She is certainly a toxic if it was on Neumann's thing, she'd be down here. And, the great mother's here, Sophia's here, the young witch of addiction is here, there's the great mother, and then there's the anima of transformation. So where these children are walking is over here in the realm of the devouring mother, which is the aspect of the puer aeternus that does not let them grow up, separate from the mother. Okay, so now they have separated from the mother. Now, what can you describe? You're just saying the life force levitates them. Now, let's first talk about that they become very scared and they faint. Now, can you just say that out loud again? Just say the words. What happens to them? How do they faint?
They sort of just kind of waver and then kind of like shake and just sort of kind of slowly collapse forward.
Okay, and the reason they're collapsing forward is that the way forward seems hopeless. Don't you think? I mean,
Yeah.
let's just go that there's no end, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And they lose their courage. And they know that every step is inviting death. Okay, every step they take. Imagine that happening. I mean, in other words, you're standing. Now, would you describe them as steadily progressing before they faint? How would you describe their movement? Are they walking at what pace, do you think?
I don't really know.
But you think they're walking?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, but not, we don't care what pace, but at least they are taking one step after another and moving forward. But then they waver and then they collapse. So they have lost consciousness, they have fainted. And the reason that we're anticipating, or, our explanation for them fainting is that they, could you state that again?
The reason why they're fainting?
Yes.
Um, I don't know. They just seem so scared and
Scared,
helpless, and that
scared, helpless.
they're just like, I can't go on. Like there's just
Yes.
no way out of
Can't
this,
go
and
on. No way out.
it's completely overwhelming to them
Yeah.
because there's just no
they,
hope.
yeah, at some point, you can imagine yourself in this thing. Yeah, what if every step invites death and you don't seem to be going anywhere anyway, and you're just, ego is threatened with complete annihilation. At some point, the adrenaline is just pumping like crazy. So your adrenaline is just rushing, and you're not doing this intellectually or anything. You're doing it with you can't run, you can't hide. There's nowhere you can go. Your adrenaline is just peaking, and finally, you just lose consciousness because it is just is so. I'm just trying to think of an example of this happening. Like say, well, let's just put it this way: that at some point, the self-preservation kicks in and says this is an overload to the consciousness of these children, and they can't cope with it. The only hope is to go into a dream state. They're safe. But now so we've got that they have fainted. They're lying on the dark plane, fainted. So what is the next thing that happens?
Now the life force, the force that animates everything, every living thing in the entire universe, kind of reanimates them and sort of like takes over for them, and levitates their body and floats them backwards to safety.
Okay, and now do you know where safety is?
No. I just know that it was putting them in a safer
So a place where
before.
Okay, and there's no at that place there's no spiders or snakes or anything like that.
I think there were still spiders and snakes, but it was like, I think they were trying to travel across like some type of like board or something that they had to like balance across, and
Okay, so there's a bridge.
so it like took them back to like a platform or something that they
Took
could
them
like
to a
rest
bridge.
on.
Yeah, it took them to a bridge in an island. They found an
Yeah, pretty
island.
much.
Yeah. Okay, took them to an island. Okay, now, so the life force that animates everything in the universe is saying this, is that it is that it is trying to preserve this growing consciousness that has formed, and it is not going to let it just be stranded out there where it's absolutely an impossible situation. So so the self intercedes on behalf of us and provides, takes us back away from the devouring mother, away from the maw of the devouring mother, and moves us to a place where the devouring mother can no longer swallow us back. Now, the life force, okay, would be, to me, just the life force is that animates everything, is the one that shapes our bodies. Okay. So what you really mean by life force, I think, is not the devouring mother, but the great mother. You know, it is the great mother is the wisdom that shaped our bodies. She's the one that makes your eyes see, makes your ears hear, makes your heart beat, makes your lungs breathe. You know, makes your digest your food, and pumps blood out into all of your limbs, and also gives you you have she's also is your seed. She's the root that wants to blossom. Okay. So the root that wants to blossom, the wisdom behind that, is saying that we cannot blossom here in the realm. This is the land where children never grow up. Okay. And why do the children never grow up? Because they're unconscious and they're lying there unconscious. Well, the great mother's saying, no, you can't stay in the realm of the devouring mother anymore. That's not going to happen. We are going to move you over here where you are now separated from the devouring mother. And we've now given you an island that is protected from her. And the one that did it, the one that rescued us, was on that thing, is the great mother. She's the life force that animates all. Okay. She's the one that gave birth to us all. You can go talk to her, and and you can say, where did you come from? Ask her where she came from, and she'll tell you that she is, is the one who is the life force that shaped your body and animates everything in the world. Life, the inexhaustible energy of life, invincible, that fills every niche. You can go down to the Marianas Trench, and you will find life down there, 6 miles below the surface of the ocean. You can go up to the Arctic, and you will find life everywhere. Everywhere you go, she fills the niche. And she is synchronistic. There's no causation with her. Everything is done through non-causal. It's acausal. Life came into being through acausal means. So the great mother is also is also sort of the goddess of synchronicity. Okay. Now so we have been separated and saved from the devouring mother by another maternal aspect. That's the great mother. And she's moved us to a place of safety. Okay, now, what's the next part of the dream?
I'm seeing all this, and I explained to someone, like, see, look, this means that the life force of the universe and creation, whatever, is autonomous. This is proof that it's autonomous.
It's proof that it's autonomous. Means that seeing all this, see, look, this means
it's like conscious, that it's autonomous and conscious.
that the life force that animates everything is conscious and
it's conscious and autonomous.
Well, those two words mean that there is a force in us that is conscious and autonomous. So when you say see, look, this means that the life force that animates everything is conscious and autonomous. You're not talking about outside yourself. You're talking about in your inner, in your destiny, in your own life that you possess. You have just been given proof that within you, this creator of your dreams is conscious and independent of this ego. And that's what we mean. Now you can see it's almost is really self-evident to everyone, but who actually awakes to the mystery of life, that whatever created it was conscious and autonomous. Jesus, how beautiful! This divinely superfluous beauty that defies all the laws of thermodynamics, all the laws of causality, is this improbable state of order that could not have come into being by causal means. Okay. It could only have been, what seems like it happens is that the DNA is just this magical, it is a magic wand. Okay. And so the next generation suddenly is given, something, and it looks ahead, it sees the future, and it wants to fill this niche, so anyway, you've experienced the mystery of life here. Okay. Now, the one thing that she does, or life does, is, at least in the animal world, and this is what Marie-Louise von Franz said, that there's three drives within us. One is for self-preservation. The other one is to reproduce. And then within humans, there's one that wants more and more. Those are the three drives within us. And that in the animal world, the animal always says that reproduction is more important than my own individual survival, because so that means the species is more important than the entity within the species. But I don't think that's true of human beings. I mean, I think in human beings, this idea of individuation, of becoming undivided, and having a soul who's connected with the the inner world, or whatever you want to call it, is just a. Just want to show you this. Just want to show you an image I saw today. If I can find this damn thing. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. All right. Let's see if I can get this thing up here. Okay. Let's see. Image. All right. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can get this up here. Okay. Share the screen. Here we go. Okay. This is a dream that someone had, Gerhard Adler. And if you see, that's macrocosm and microcosm. Okay, so there's a life force that is the outer snake. And if you see, it actually has these sun rays coming off its head. This is in black and white. But then in the middle are all these entities, this you, okay? So you possess the same mystery as the outer life force, okay, does, you know. So you are the god of your own world. You are a universe, and you have a divine demiurge in you. So when you say that this means that the life force that animates all things is both conscious and autonomous. You are talking about the inner self and your soul. Okay. So then what you really should have been saying was this. Let's see. This is the accurate statement. Because everybody always wants to project all of this outside of, your soul could care less. What it is trying to do is to get us to blossom like we're supposed to blossom, and so it has to coach ego, which is self-willed, which is both a miracle and a curse. And it's trying to coach the ego to not be so self-willed, and to realize that its task of tasks is to move closer to this wisdom that is conscious and autonomous, and the one that moved the growing thing in us away from the field of the devouring mother, which would annihilate us, the growing thing within us. Put the children, Hansel and Gretel, and cook them in the oven and move them to a plane of safety. See, the plane of safety is where they're being moved to, which is the plane of where growth needs to be. Growth needs to be protected from the devouring mother. Once growth has been protected from the devouring mother, then growth means that we 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, we become adults. We are mature, undivided vessels of the so what appears here to be happening is that the benevolent forces within you personally are trying everything they can do to protect the growing thing in you from the devouring mother, which is the one that has been your curse over your whole 30 years, which has kept you from being able to live a historical existence, to relate to other people, particularly to find a feminine creature in the outer world, become united with her, and to fulfill both a biological purpose in the outer world and a psychological process. And remember, psyche means soul. All these people who use psychological, the word, and don't refer to the soul, which is outside of time and space, are misusing the term. So the idea is that you mature in the outer world and you mature in the inner world. But don't you, doesn't it look here like it is showing us that the Great Mother is winning over the Devouring Mother right now? Or at least she's interceding on our behalf. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. The and the biggest thing I get from this dream, or what I really kind of think the dream means, is like it's just like I'm saying to that person, I don't know, I'm really just saying like, are the dreams showing that like you can trust life and that you can trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you just nailed it. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think the whole
You
dream is
just
about, just being
absolutely
able to
nailed it.
trust life.
You trust life. This is that comes from an Eskimo story. It's just what you just said. That this Eskimo is sent out into the wilderness, into the plain of uh, of the spiders and snakes. He's taken out and he's put in a little igloo there, just like the children, you know. And he's there all by himself in this, in this on this, just maybe like some kind of a glacier or something. He's there all by himself, and he sits there. And they don't give him. He has a little water and everything, and a little food, but he's to remain there 30 days. And he says, here's what he says. And this really describes your dream and just what you just said. Okay. He says, I want you to know, he's describing it afterward. This actually happened. I want you to know that I died a number of times out there in the wilderness, far away from all other people. But he says, I found and learned what can only be learned and found in the depths, far from the multitudes. And he says, I heard a voice of motherly solicitude. So I heard the Great Mother. And he said, sometimes it sounded like children's voices, and sometimes it sounded like falling snow. But he said, what it said to me was, do not be afraid of the universe. Do not be afraid of life. Now, this is kind of what the woman that we meet in the house of the Egyptian exhibit is saying too. She's saying, come, veni, 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 come, 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 come into life. Don't be afraid of it. Come into life. So how do we come into life? I think you're doing it right now. But I think that also what has happened is you have found this place of refuge, this square that's far away from this endless realm of spiders and snakes, which is the toxic realm. Let's just call it the toxic realm. Let's not even talk about the spiders and snakes. But the growing thing within us has been trapped in the toxic realm. And I think through part of what you're doing, the Great Mother has now been able to move the growing thing within us. I mean, basically, we're unconscious there too. I mean, like you said a couple of times that you didn't have any energy to even get up in the morning. And, I mean, it was just like this, you had fainted. There was an aspect of you that all your libido had been, because there didn't seem to be any way out. It seemed to be an endless loop, you know. But this is really, don't you think this means that you've entered life now, in at least in some way? And the Great Mother says, from you entering life, the growing thing within you has been saved. If you had not entered life, if you had not went to Maine, the children would have never left the toxic field. But from you going to Maine, entering life, the Great Mother is telling you now the growing thing within you is safe from the toxic field, which is the devouring mother. And
Yeah, I just think, I mean, I think that all I really know is that it's saying that, you know, um, it's that I can trust it and, you know, it'll keep me safe, I guess. You
well,
know?
and remember what Jung told Robert Johnson, you know, that don't worry about anything, that the Great Mother will protect you.
Mhm.
Just, you know, live life with utter devotion, you know, to enter life with utter devotion. And that means every morning we get up, and this is, you know, really what made me a Hasid. Uh, you know, Martin Buber heard this too, and made him a Hasidic person, one who hallows the everyday, celebrates every day, because he has come into life. He is conscious, and what Jung says is no one can really experience life as an animal. The only way they can experience life is as someone who has connected with the eternal and the divine within them. Then they can experience life and know and have it combined with meaning. And I think when they say come into life, that's what they mean. Or when you said, now, what is it you said again? You said, not, I think I have found that I don't have to be afraid of life.
Yeah, it's just showing that I don't have to be afraid and that I can trust
Yes,
life and that it'll protect me.
yeah, compare this with the pain of exclusion that we felt in the other dream, where we obviously had not entered life, you know. Now this dream is rather stark,
Yeah.
and so it's close to the prima materia. That's what it means when it's stark. You know, it's very close to that thing that's forming within us, the prima materia. But it is differentiated to this extent that you have just identified. You didn't say those words. That was not you speaking. That was the self itself speaking through you. And it said, Charles, I am the life force that animates everything. I am conscious. I am autonomous. I am protecting you, and I will always protect you. Know that as you go forward, that I am here, I will protect you. And so every time that we come and we're a little bit, afraid, like the children in the toxic field, think of this life force that levitates you to the safe place, because she is there. You know, she's conscious and she's autonomous, and she's the life force that animates all things. And She is alive and living within you. She's there. Know that. Live that way. You know, I mean, know that she's alive. Now, you know, that was someone, you know, yesterday I was a little, I don't think, you know, that when you said that you didn't have time for feelings, you know, that sort of, you know, I think what we don't have time for is for frivolous people, you know, for chit chat, you know, and that's what we don't have time for. But this life force is in everyone. So we need, when we see the other person there, we need to know that she is in them too. She is doing the same thing in them that she's doing in us. So in that case, we're one with the other. But very few people know that. You know, very few people know that.
Well,
So anyway,
I was gonna say, I think they're having a cookout or something outside.
yeah,
so-
I know. I have to leave anyway because we have to get packing. We're going to leave in the morning, but
Oh,
at
okay.
least I think this was a fruitful exercise for me. I don't know if it was for you. I got a lot out of these, Charles. I really do.
Okay, good.
I think I get more out of them than anybody else does. But anyway, well, Charles, yeah, go out there and don't be afraid of life. You know, go up to one person and say, "How's it going? Is it working out? You know, got any problems?" Anyway. Well, anyway, it's always good to talk to you, Charles. I feel like we are brothers, so just saying. Okay.
Oh, thanks,
All
Greg.
right. Okay. Well, have a good evening, Charles. We'll talk to you
All right,
soon.
you too.
Okay.
All right,
Bye
bye.
bye.